What is going on, YouTube? You are back with the Prez. Today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the science of calisthenics and how calisthenics alone is very effective for building muscle and getting you super strong. Now, before we dive in to the science behind the calisthenic training and everything, let's first define what separates calisthenics from traditional weightlifting that you would find in the gym. I've talked about this many times in the past, guys. Remember, calisthenic exercises, 99.9% of them are going to be closed chain movement patterns, meaning closed chain is when your limbs are fixed to a surface and your body is moving through space. Think of it as pull-ups. It's the easiest example for me to give somebody, right? Calisthenics, pull-ups, my arms are fixed to the bar or to these handles right now, and I'm pulling my body up and down through space with my arms fixed, right? That's closed chain. Open chain would be a lat pull down variation. Now, think of me seating on a bench right now. I have the lat pull down bar above me, and I'm seated, and all I'm doing now is pulling that bar to my chest. Same biomechanics, same muscle groups focused on the lat pull down and a pull up, different biomechanical movement patterns. Whereas, again, the closed chain, the calisthenic movements, your whole body, remember, the whole body is now moving through space, right? My arms are staying fixed. Whereas again, if it was a lat pull down, I would be seated and I would be pulling my arms through space, right? So that would be an open chain movement versus the closed chain movement. Now you can think of all calisthenic exercises as closed chain movements. Pull-ups, push-ups, right? Push-ups, I'm on the floor like this, body moving through space. If I was on this bench pressing, again, I would be laying down, just moving my limbs through space. Again, same muscles targeted, different biomechanical movement patterns. One, the whole body is moving in unison. The other one, we just got our limbs moving. One discrepancy where most people think that this is not a calisthenic movement, let's talk about barbell squats, right? Because me personally, for my calisthenic training, I've always preach the importance of doing weighted lower body work, right? Adding mass or adding external resistance to your legs, right? Because a squat, again, it's still a closed chain movement, right? What's moving? My legs are fixed, body moves through space, right? Body is moving the bar up and down, as opposed to, again, let's say I'm on a machine and I'm doing a leg press, now I'm seated and my legs would just be kicking the machine out, right? Open chain, leg press, closed chain, barbell squatting. So barbell squatting would be a traditional weightlifting movement that's also calisthenics, because a barbell back squat is a progression to a bodyweight squat, right? Same mechanics, barbell back squats, bodyweight squats, same biomechanical movement pattern, feet are fixed to the floor, body's moving up and down. So you have to understand the difference between closed chain movements and open chain movements before you could even dive into the science of calisthenics and how you could build muscle training with just calisthenics. Now, when I say just calisthenics, it does not mean I'm limiting you to just body weight training, because again, calisthenics can be weight bearing. As long as the movement stays closed chain, it's a calisthenic exercise, and there's endless potential when you start to load up weight on your body for certain movements, right? Think of weighted pull-ups, guys. Well, actually, let's take a step back. Let's now dive into the science of muscle building. Studies, whether you're doing studies with barbell bench pressing or if you're doing a study with push-ups. The science of building muscle means you have to take that muscle group and the movement that you're doing close enough to failure that you're stimulating a response in the body. When I talk about stimulating a response from the body, the response that you want your body to adapt to is that muscle building benefit, right? Taking the sets close enough to failure where you're getting that stimulus. Now, with calisthenics, as you're a beginner, if you're just starting out, things are naturally going to be hard for you, right? And the science has proven that you could build muscle anywhere between 5 reps up to 30 reps. Again, granted that if you're doing 30 reps, reps 28, reps 29, and reps 30 are pretty damn challenging, right? It doesn't have to be all out max effort where on rep 30 you can't even get the rep out, but it has to be pretty damn tough. Whereas with weightlifting, let's just say we're doing a set of bench press, it's gonna be hard to do a 30 clip of bench press when you're using external weight, right? Because if you're going to be doing a 30 rep bench press, the external weight is going to be dramatically lower than typically what's needed or optimal for building muscle. Because again, remember, like I said, muscle could be built anywhere between 5 and 30 reps. Now, as a beginner, you might be a beginner starting out your calisthenic journey, and 15 to 20 clip of push-ups is hard. But one thing you have to always remember, when you're working with your body weight, you're always working with your body weight, regardless is if you're getting leaner or if you're getting heavier, your weight's always going to stay uniform. Whereas we have a lot of variation. We could put 135 on the bar, we could put 115 on the bar, we could put 95 pounds on the bar, right? So we have variety when it comes to external load, right? So let's just say I want to hit a 30 rep bench press, and let's just say my 1 rep max is, let's just say I could 1 rep max 225. I won't be able to hit 30 with 205. I won't be able to hit 30 with 185 because it's too close to the 225 1 rep max. But maybe I can hit 30 with like 115, right? A very smaller percentage of the 225. Now, do you see many people doing that in the gym? No, because if you're trying to stimulate muscle with weights, it's a lot easier to just add load, fall in that 8 to 10 rep range. Because doing sets of 30 can become very mentally challenging, as well as endurance physically challenging, right? Whereas a set of 10 is going to tax you less than doing a set of 30. But now when it comes to body weight, there's endless potential. Because remember, your body weight is always going to be your body weight. Unless you're gaining 10 pounds a day, there's not going to be that much dramatic fluctuations in your weight. So if you're a beginner and now you start to practice push-ups and you're only hitting 15 to 20, as you start to naturally lean out, because you're getting better at calisthenics, you're training more, you're building muscle, you're losing body fat, that 15 to 20 might now start becoming 20 to 25, and then 25 to 30 reps. And then once you get to that 30 rep body weight rep range, now there's a lot of chance to manipulate leverages, or just throw a weight vest on, throw a plate on your back, and start working in that 10 to 20, 10 to 30 rep range again. It's very easy to start adding load to your body weight once you reach that max hypertrophy benefit, right? Meaning the 30 rep push-up set is becoming easy now. So if the 30 reps of push-ups are becoming easy from set to set, now you can either elevate your feet, go decline push-ups. So your feet are elevated, your hands are down lower. It's a harder variation, right? So that's going to take your 30 rep push-up set probably back down to that 18 to 20 rep mark. Or throw a book bag on, throw 50 pounds in your back. Stay on regular push-ups. Again, that's going to take you from 30 reps probably closer to 10 to 15. So all we got to do is manipulate loads on our body, and we can constantly stay in that, again, 5 to 30 rep range. Whereas again, on the bar, when you're doing weightlifting, if your body weight is changing dramatically, the weight on the bar is always going to be a different percentage compared to your body weight. For instance, 225, my 1 rep max. Let's say I'm 1 rep maxing 225 with a body weight of 180. Now let's just say I get down to 165, I lose 15 pounds of fat, I'm leaner. That 225 is going to be a much heavier percentage. That 225 may not be a 1 rep max anymore. I may not even be able to push that 225 anymore. Whereas body weight, if I'm getting leaner, usually the reps are going to go up. And that's when I can start adding more load. So there's an inverse relationship to getting leaner with calisthenics and getting leaner with weight training. So there's always going to be that X factor, whereas when you train with calisthenics, it might require you to think a little bit more, right? It might require you to manipulate things a little bit more, where again, weightlifting, it's very easy to just, okay, I'm gonna just lower the weight on the bar and see how many I could get for 5, 10, or 1 rep max, whatever it is, right? Think of this analogy, guys. Think of 2 runners, right? One's a long distance runner and one's a marathon runner. One's a marathon runner and one's a sprinter, right? So we got somebody like Usain Bolt, and then we got somebody who runs the New York Marathon, the 26-mile race. Usain Bolt, you're going to see him, his sprints, his training when he's competing, he's going on quick, max effort sprints that probably last anywhere between 15 and 30 seconds max. Whereas person B, the marathon runner, he's going to run 26 miles in 2 hours, and he's going to keep a steady pace, jogging like this for 2 hours straight, right? Is that ideal for building muscle? Absolutely not. That's just going to get you very endured. Whereas again, as you get leaner and leaner in your calisthenics and lighter, and those reps become easier and easier, if 30 rep push-up sets are now becoming easy, if you're doing sets of 40 and 50 easily, you're not going to really be getting that muscle building effect. That's why it's important to lower the reps, but increase the load. So you have to start adding weight to your body to fall again in that 5 to 30 rep range if the goal is muscle building. But if you just want to be more endurance focused, then you can just keep repping out. But like I said, Usain Bolt, you're going to see him, his sets when he's competing, he's max efforting, all out sprinting, all out intensity, going to failure, and he's jacked. Whereas the marathon runner, they're steady state running 2 hours straight, really not getting too exhausted, and they're skinny, they're lean, they don't have much muscle on them, right? So that's the choice you could also choose when it comes to calisthenics, right? You have so many modalities that you could work with, right? Because remember, your body is always going to be your body, and you're not limited to only building muscle with your body. If you don't want to build more muscle and you want to become more endurance, more agile, you want to be able to perform for long periods of time, by all means, keep those reps high, work in those endurance rep ranges, stay in 30 to 50 rep ranges for your push-ups, for your dips, stay in 30 plus reps of pull-ups if you can get to that, right? And if not, you could always manipulate the movement and go to an easier variation. Keeping those reps high, they're going to keep you very endurance focused. You're going to have a nice physique. You're going to be lean. You're going to be cut. You're just not going to be massive and bulky. The mass and bulk all comes with intensity. If the sets are hard and you're stimulating that muscle to grow, you're going to grow. Granted, you're eating enough calories. Same thing when it comes to weightlifting. If you want to be super endurance in weightlifting, you could just lower that weight down and just do super high rep training. But 99% of people don't go to the gym and lift weights to be more endurance focused, right? They go to the gym and lift weights to build muscle. And like I said, that's what the science of calisthenics is all about. If you're somebody like me, it's always been about performing well, looking good, but having a decent amount of muscle mass on your physique. And I've been training 90%, and when I say 90%, it's just a blend. It's always been more calisthenic focused compared to weightlifting for the past 12 years for myself. But I've always found the value of incorporating some weightlifting movements. For instance, let's think about training our shoulders now, right? Training your shoulders with calisthenics. It's easily done. But again, it requires a little bit more skill, and let's just say overall being in tune with your body. Because movements like handstand push-ups, they're not just a movement where we're moving through space. They're a skill-based movement. There's a lot of moving parts. There's balance aspect involved, right? So it's a skill where if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And it's going to be a very hard skill to continuously progress on. Whereas if you take a barbell and you throw that weight over your head, it's a lot easier to find that failure rep range in that, again, 5 to 30 rep ranges, because you don't have to worry about balance being an aspect, right? You don't have to worry about how good your nervous system is feeling that day. Because again, you could always manipulate that. If you don't want to do a barbell press, I could go on a machine and move my arms through space. Very effective for building muscle. However, remember, like I said, we live in our bodies. We don't live in the gym. We don't live sitting down. Our bodies, when we're walking, when we're running, even if we're running, right? Yes, it's a leg-based movement, but our whole body's moving. The upper body is moving along with the legs. Whereas when we're training here, we're solely moving our limbs. It does not keep us functional. That's why you might see somebody who lifts weights who might look amazing on stage. They got the sickest physique, the physique that you're dreaming of getting. And now you put them on a court to play sport, like let's just say handball or pickleball or coordination-based sport, and they literally look like they're moving like this because they're so stiff. Again, calisthenics is going to eliminate all that. It's going to keep you in tune with your body. It's going to keep you very functional. And the science behind muscle building and calisthenics, it's the same principles as weight training. Make the sets hard, give the muscles a reason to grow and stimulate them, and you're going to put the mass on, you're going to put the size on. It's not like rocket science, guys. Again, the difference between calisthenics and weightlifting, closed chain versus open chain, moving your full body through space versus moving your limbs through space. And I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm just going to touch on one more topic in terms of science-based calisthenic muscle building. One thing most people get wrong, because again, a lot of people when they see calisthenics on the internet, they're looking at the flashy shit, right? They're looking at the shit that people posting on social media, the explosive movements where they're jumping around the bar. There is levels to the calisthenics game, guys. Like I said, when you're a beginner, push-ups, pull-ups, dips, those are going to be your bread and butter. Just like if you're in the gym, the biggest bang for your buck movements, they're going to be bench press, squatting, deadlifting, overhead pressing, the big four. If you just did those 4 movements in the gym, you would build an amazing physique. Same thing with calisthenics, right? If you only did pull-ups, dips, bodyweight squats, or barbell squats, it's still a calisthenic movement, pull-ups, dips, squats, push-ups, rows. Let's say we got a big 5 for calisthenics. We only did those 5 movements. We would build an amazing, beautiful, strong physique. But there's more to life than just those 5 movements, right? Our body moves in more planes than that. Same thing with the gym, right? That's where accessory movements come in. You might see someone doing a pendulum row, or a single arm row, or a lateral raise, right? Those are more isolation or accessory based movements. Calisthenic has them too, right? Except the main movements, now the dips, the push-ups, the rows, as you get better and better at them, they become the accessory movements. And now you can start including muscle ups, straight bar dips, planche push-ups, handstand push-ups, front lever rows, front lever holds, the more advanced variations where there aren't really an advanced variation of a bench press unless you start doing maybe like a Larson press where your legs aren't flat on the floor, your legs are straight out, less leverage base, less leg drive, right? So it's always about manipulation, whether it's in the weight room or with calisthenics and your body weight. But again, the point that I'm trying to make right here when it comes to weightlifting and calisthenics is over time, the basics in calisthenics that build your physique, they're going to become easier for you. But it doesn't mean you can eliminate them, because you could always make the basics harder. Because again, like I said, if someone is only focusing on the big 4 in the gym, a powerlifter for that matter, they may only do for fucking 15, 20 years, all they do is bench, squat, deadlift, row, overhead press, and they built an insane physique. You could do the same thing with calisthenics, except with calisthenics, you're not going to be able to start adding loads to the bar easier. You're going to have to start adding weight to your body in the form of weight vest, kettlebells hanging from a chain, things like that, or leverage-based movements. Remember this, guys. A pull-up like this is going to be easier than a pull-up like this, right? Because now leverage, my body's in a different range of motion. My abs are more flexed here. My legs are in front of me. My torso's in a different, more vertical position. Harder positioning for pull-up, right? So there's always ways to manipulate the calisthenic basics to make them harder and keep scaling them up so you can have endless room for progressive overload. And like I said, if the leverages are too hard for you to go by, just throw a weight vest on. It's going to make your sets that much more effective at building muscle. Like I said, I don't want to make this video too long. So if you have a question or comment, leave it in the comment section and I'll help. Hopefully I can dive in deeper and give you a little better understanding of something you're not missing on this topic. If you have a specific topic that you want me to cover, let me know in the comment section. I'll try to touch base on that within the next few days. And like always, guys, I appreciate all the support. If you're not subscribed yet, you know, guys, hit that subscribe button. Like the video, helps your algorithm out. And like always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. BARNATURALS.
They all love to talk, you know they do that shit the most. Think you on my level, boy, but you ain't even close.